Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and this is Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Season 7, Episode 8, Together Again. And that title has some meaning. Welcome, everybody. And before I get started here, I'm going to take care of some business and then we'll get to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, you're going to see a video pop up here at the very end of this video. And basically, what YouTube does takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match them as best as possible to one of the videos in my fast video library and pops it up there just for you. Up here is going to be Future Man. Future Man's going to be up that way. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at my weekly schedule there. I change it out every week. And I also mirror that on my Facebook page as well. Speaking of they're trying. It's basically what they were there for was to show Ahsoka that even though she wasn't a Jedi in name, in title, that she had walked away from the Jedi Order, she still was a Jedi in what she practiced. Basically, she practiced the ideals that Jedi themselves no longer practiced, and they recognized that in her once they realized that she was a Jedi, and she, of course, told them so. And they tried to help her actually at one point. They actually go back to the Spice World and not to be confused with Spice Girls, Spice World, and they steal some spice. And that was kind of weird. You couldn't get the stream to start. That's weird. And of course, they bring it into the Pikes in order to get Ahsoka released. But they get away, and all is good. Yeah. All right. So, Bubba's refund, yeah, it froze up for me too for a minute back now. Okay, that's kind of weird. Did everything freeze altogether? Or is there everything good? Because I'm showing my time is looking good on this. Hopefully it didn't freeze up completely. I'll end up taking a look at it. I might just have had problems letting people into the chat and stuff like that. YouTube's been doing some really funky shit lately. For the last couple of streams, it's taken over 24 hours for my videos to process before I can actually add my end videos here and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, Apple Crow. Everything's there. So just had a spinning wheel on the screen. Oh wow, that's kind of interesting. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'll go back and take a look and see if this is all shit and I have to, destroy it as normal and re-record another one. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, all kinds of weird shit's been going on YouTube. They've been changing stuff over. So they changed over our interface as well for the streaming, for the live streams and stuff like that. So I'm sure they're going to have a whole bunch of bugs that are associated with it. Huh. Oh, wow. You skipped over about 40 seconds, Pen. Okay. So, like I said, I'll go back and take a look at it. So, like I was saying, basically what Trace and her sister Rafa were there for were to remind Ahsoka that she's actually on the right path. She is on the Jedi path, even though the Jedi Council no longer really is. And this kind of shows you the whole failing of the Jedi Council in its entirety, pretty much. And for me, it kind of brings the prequels into a little bit of a different light when I had that realization that they done fucked up big time is what happened. The Jedi Council, and they didn't practice what they preached. They were more, I don't know, I guess they had more of a war mindset than they did anything else, and that's kind of what blinded them to what ends up blindsiding them later on with Palpatine and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I agree with the Apple Crow. The Clone Wars with the prequels could have been. Actually, if you go back, if you can find it, Gennady Tartakovsky's Clone Wars are what the prequels should have been. That actually, like I've said before, was what made me go back into the theater to go and watch that god awful episode 3. Now, in hindsight, episode 3 was not as bad as episodes 7, 8, and 9, which of course have never happened because they happened in the Kelvin universe is where they happened. They never really took place in the Star Wars universe proper, so they don't exist. Where do you find that the Gennady Tartakovsky's Clone Wars? That's a good question. I've been looking for them for a long time. I really tried to find it, and I don't know where it's at. So if anybody finds it, post it down below in the chat here, or post it in the comments of this video, because I've been looking. I can't find it anywhere. So yeah, it is an animated one, Apple Crow. Again, Gennady Tartakovsky, the guy who did Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, Primal is what he's doing right now on Adult Swim. So yeah. Star Wars Kelvin universe. No, it's not wrong, Penn. It's just what a lot of us feel, that the J.J. Abrams, he destroyed 2 franchises pretty much, Star Trek and Star Wars. So there you go. I mean, and he did it fairly easily too, which was really nice. Luckily, we have other stuff that doesn't deal with the Skywalker family and all that stuff, that Star Wars related, that is good. So yeah. But enough said about that. Let's go back to, we leave off this episode with Ahsoka leaving with the Mandalorians with Bo-Katan, and essentially what we're going into is the Siege of Mandalore, is what this is. I am fucking stoked about this. So Disney Plus has been hashtagging this for a while. They hashtagged this around episode 3 of Clone Wars, the Maldalorian, which I actually have hashtagged in my Twitter if you go and take a look at it. And they even have a little nice little emoji next to it when you do hashtag the Maldalorian. And it's got a Mandalorian helmet with horns on it, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this next 4 episodes that we have. So these final 4 episodes are it for the Clone Wars, the animated Clone Wars. It's done because it leads right into episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Excuse me. And that's going to be kind of interesting and awesome. I want to see how they're going to do this, because Gennady Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, literally the end scene of that cartoon goes right into the beginning of episode 3. So it's supposed to be the segue going from that to that. So that's why you see General Grievous wheezing and everything, because he had just had a fight with Mace Windu, and Mace crushed his armor around his ribcage, causing him to wheeze before he took off. So that was kind of an interesting thing. I guess they're going to show this other portion of what was going on at the same time there. Apple Crow says, do you think they will tie it directly to the Mandalorian? They mentioned that Death Watch was done, but they're still wearing the colors. Quite honestly, the Mandalorian over here, where is he? Over here. They're part of Death Watch. This one in particular, who has the Gatling gun over there, his name, Vizsla, he's part of Clan Vizsla. He is a descendant of the guy who actually welded the dark saber, who made the dark saber, the thing that Grand Moff, I almost said Grand Moff Tarkin, that the Grand Moff in The Mandalorian was wielding at the very end there of episode 1 or season 1. And so, yes, this all ties in. Dave Filoni is also involved in The Mandalorian. He's bringing Ahsoka Tano in, played by Rosario Dawson in The Mandalorian in season 2. So, and most likely, we had a rumor that it possibly an old Rex will be in there too, because Rex, by the way, he is actually on the Battle of Endor and survived the Battle of Endor. He is part of Han's crew. If you take a look, it's an old guy in a green poncho with a beard, and he's got the helmet and all that stuff. That has now been canon canonized that is Rex in Return of the Jedi. So he survives, and that's the Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So you do the math on that one. Yeah. So yes, I do think it's going to tie directly into the Mandalorian. We're going to see what happened with the Dark Saber, because this is the Siege of Mandalore. When the Siege of Mandalore ends, Darth Maul supposedly loses the Dark Saber at this point. Who gets the Dark Saber at that point? We don't know. That's the part that's kind of murky right now. Yeah. Bub's Revenge says, I wish we'd gotten more live action of Mace Windu's lightsaber work. Love his Shatterpoint style of fighting. Yeah, like I said, if you can find Gennady Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, there's a lot of that fighting style in there. And there's a great, I believe there's a Mace Windu centric episode where he is fighting tons and tons of droids, and he is taking them out like, just a badass, man. He is doing stuff to them that is, I wish I had seen in the movies, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Apple Crow says Rex could have been part of the Bad Batch. His power is he'll live forever. Yeah, exactly. You wanted a green poncho. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm. Oh, and by the way, the very final episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the animated series here, is going to finish up on May the 4th, which is Monday, May the 4th, which of course is Star Wars Day. Yes, Gennady Tartakovsky's animation style is very different because it's not 3D; it's a 2D animation, and he does an awesome job. I mean, there's some great stuff in there. Actually, Anakin's scar is that he has over his eye in Episode 3 is explained in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the Gennady Tartakovsky one. There's an actual episode about how he gets that scar over his eye. And it's not a cat that scratches it, by the way. You know. Joker says, I love the Endor fight, forest chase. It was a fun to play as the arcade. Oh, yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, the speeder bikes through the forest. I hated that part of the game. I really did. It was not my favorite part. Yeah. Hey, Bub's Revenge, if you can find it, let me know where it's at. Just like I said, post it down in the comment section of the video here. I've been looking for that thing for a while because I used to have it on VHS. I recorded every single episode that played on cartoon. That's how long ago this played. I want to say it was like 2003 that came out, 2004, something like that. I can't remember when it came out. But yeah, that's when VHS was still on its last gasp, and I was recording it off of TV. Yeah. They did the best they could with 1983 video game tech. The best that 1970s technology has to offer. Sorry, that's an old Tick, the animated series reference. And I use that routinely at work because we have a shitload of old equipment. And it's appropriate. I'm like, the best that 1970s technology has to offer. And people laugh all the time because it is fucking funny and true. Yeah, you work at a university, you don't get new stuff unless you get a really big fucking grant, and that's really few and far in between. And even then, you want to kind of piece out what you're buying there, grant wise, because you have stipulations of what you can buy. Oh yeah, we all need to rewatch the animated Tick, Apple Crow. Still to this day, one of my favorite scenes in that, and I know I'm digressing at this point, but inside the Tick's mind, and there's a big happy face that its mouth opens up and tongue comes out of steps, and it's the pleasure center of the Tick's brain. He's running towards it, running up the stairs, and suddenly the stairs disappear and the ground opens up, it splits open, and he falls into a pit of water, and this giant snake comes up and wraps around himself, and he starts struggling with it, and he's wrestling with it, and they stop, and the snake looks at him and says, "You don't date much, do you?" I fucking almost peed myself laughing, because that's all Freudian references to sexual frustration. The pit of water, the giant snake, you know. And to have that on a fucking Saturday morning's children's show, I just, like I said, I almost peed myself laughing because it was that funny. That's why that show is genius, and why it spawned Doc Hammer and Jackson Public, who went on to create the Venture Brothers. They worked on that as well. All right. So, what else do I have going on there? I've got tomorrow, I'm off. I get a day of rest. That's right. Friday, I come on back with the animated Harley Quinn from DC Universe. The second season is out. Episode 2 actually just came out. Episode 3 is going to be on Friday. Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any of the genre stuff you guys want to talk about. And hopefully the internet doesn't crap out and glitch up my whole video and everything, so I have to do everything by myself. But hopefully we can talk about it together on Saturday Morning Blast Off. On Sunday is going to be Westworld. Monday is the excellent Dispatches from Elsewhere. That's on AMC. Tuesday is Future Man. That's right, the final season of Future Man on Hulu. I'm going episode by episode once a week. And then, of course, Wednesday is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. You got it. All right. So that's it for me. That's all I've got. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you, everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far in the video. And if you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up here and see if you like it. And if you do, like, share, and subscribe down there. Also, if you want to know when I'll be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. Or you can go to suspendedfanimation.com and take a look at my weekly schedule and all the links to my social media that I've got up there. Next CW episode should be really good. Are they actually starting that stuff up again? I thought they were on COVID hiatus. I didn't know what was going on there. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to let you go. Have a good night. Stay safe. And don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find out that Darth Maul is part of, the Crimson Dawn, which is not to be mistaken for Asian Dawn from Die Hard. That's a different terrorist group altogether. And actually, Crimson Dawn's a criminal organization in Star Wars. It's easy to get those confused. But sorry, I digress at this point. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you on Friday. See ya. Have a good one and stay safe. Good night, everybody.